maybe it's because of the immigrant mindset. Like I have nothing to lose, right?
So I'm an imposter, basically. Long story short, I'm an
Good for
imposter.
you.
No, we'll cut that away.
My significant other will kill me.
You don't have to say that. You can plead the fifth on that question.
Yeah.
I mean, from MBA to law to law firms to private equity, I mean, there's a lot in there. Anything in particular that you're like, this is something that's helped me each step of those ways?
America is a great place and it provides opportunities for everyone. It doesn't matter. Like I went to public school, but I was able to get really good education.
Welcome to the In the Field podcast, where we speak to veterans, service members, and those in the transition process to learn about their stories. Chris, thanks so much for being on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you.
Really appreciate you coming in today. I know it's a Friday. It's starting to get late, so maybe MREs in New York City isn't the place you want to be with so many great restaurants here, but I do appreciate you coming in.
Thank you so much.
So the question I ask all my guests first is, when was the last time you had an MRE?
Probably Sears School.
Okay.
February 2014.
So Sears School, I'm going to guess, wasn't the most pleasant, and so bad memories when it comes to MREs, I guess, or at least the last time you had one.
I mean, you're really hungry, so you just have to eat.
I guess that's fair. Well, we have a few. We don't have a full box, but you do get to choose which one you'd like to try.
Oh, wow. Pizza slice. Wow. Mexicans. Oh, I've seen this before.
That one's not too bad.
Tuna.
Oh, we actually have two pizza slices.
Beef ravioli. Oh, this just been around for a while, right?
I think so. Maybe? Yeah, I think that's a classic.
I remember this.
All right.
I'll try this. I haven't had it in a while.
I'll do. We'll do chicken burrito bowl. So we'll toss the rest on the floor.
Ooh. Yeah.
And which one did I say I was gonna do? I think I said chicken burrito bowl.
Yeah. So
as we open these up, talk to me about your childhood. Not to make this sound like a therapy session, but what was it like growing up? Where did you grow up?
Yeah.
A little bit of a spoiler. You obviously went to West Point, but how did you get there?
Ooh, yeah. So I grew up in Korea, Seoul, South Korea. Grew up in a very lucky environment. I had loving parents. I had two older sisters. It's incredibly supportive. My family, after the 1997 Asian financial crisis, we had like a small business and that went underwater. So we thought, hey, let's leave Korea and go somewhere that we can pursue potentially a better life.
Yeah.
So we chose America, and so we immigrated to San Francisco, the Bay Area.
Yeah.
When I was 8.
This was 1999.
97.
97. So not too far away from the .com bubble, I think. Were you the one causing these economic bursts?
No, but yeah.
And, you said 7 years old?
I was 8.
8 years old.
Yeah.
No, so I mean, that's got to be pretty tough, though. Going to a completely new country. I moved from Sweden when I was 6. I think, probably Sweden and America has maybe a little bit more of an overlap than Korea and the United States. But I remember being like put in ESL classes and feeling like, why am I being separated from the main class? Like, was the transition smooth for you, or how did it feel being in a completely different country?
So we didn't really plan this. Yeah. So the transition was hard. We didn't speak English. Actually, I'll tell you about it later, but I used to learn English from a West Point grad at a nearby military base. Okay. So that's how I learned about the U.S. military. But and that was when I was like 7. And I never thought that I'd actually come to America. So the transition was hard, but we all have that immigrant story, right?
Yeah.
Where you get cheated, people like you get made fun of and all that stuff. Like that happened, but you kind of grow out of it. And but we were I felt very lucky still.
Yeah.
America just provided a lot for my family. So
did you look at other countries? I mean, maybe you were too young to remember, but did you ever talk about your parents? Like, were they ever like, oh, maybe Germany or the UK, or was it kind of like, yeah, we either stay here in in Korea, or we move to the US?
I wasn't part of that conversation.
Yeah.
I think US was naturally the next place to go.
Yeah.
For a lot of Korean immigrants back during that time.
Yeah.
Who face a similar situation. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you're in the US. How do you mentioned learning a little bit of English from a West Point grad.
Yeah.
Was that the inroad, or what started to spark the interest in the military?
That was it. You're growing up and you see, like, I grew up in Seoul and you don't really know much about life, right?
Yeah.
But then you see that one U.S. military base, but you're always curious and you really can't get in unless you get passes or something like that. But there were some, I think this guy, it was free classes. And I remember just going to that base and just learning just like English from him.
Yeah.
And my sisters. And that was a pretty profound experience because it made me realize how much, like, if it wasn't for America, like, I don't think South Korea would be there.
Right.
And I felt I felt that gratitude.
Yeah.
So I think that was the initial spark of everything. And I wasn't eligible to apply to West Point when I was like, hey, because you have to be a citizen.
Yeah.
So I didn't really think about it until I became a naturalized U.S. citizen during freshman year of high school through my mother. Wow. Yeah.
So that's, let's see, you start high school at 13, I think?
14, yeah. 13, 14, yeah. Around there.
Fact check that. 14. Yeah. So, 6 years of kind of being in the U.S., figuring things out. Were you good at school? Did you naturally, like, gravitate towards different subjects? Like, what were you were you playing sports?
No, so I didn't play any sports in high school. I think I did actually freshman year football, but I don't think it really counts because I was a bench warmer, so it's kind of embarrassing.
Doesn't everyone get to play though in high school?
No, I think I played one game and we were losing by like 30 points, and
so they're like,
they just like, screw it, just put him in.
And you recovered it all. You ended up winning the game for the team, right?
Right, yeah. That was my only field time experience. So no, I wasn't a good student growing up. Actually, my very lucky. My parents never really told me to study or do anything. They just kind of let me do what I want to do. But then I think during 7th grade in middle school, I got suspended for like a couple of days.
Really?
I was just arguing with someone, and I think I flicked his like hat or something like that. And then
it's the most egregious of all.
it was silly back then. And then after that, I realized that wow, like I really need to pick it up. Like I can't be getting 2-point-something GPAs anymore. Let's just study and focus. And in high school, I just worked really hard. Like I would say that in high school, I wasn't like, if it took someone 1 hour to get that A on the test, I probably spent like 5 hours studying for it. So I had to really work hard. And so I said that academics were, I did okay. Did a lot of leadership activities. Yeah. That was fine.
I mean, it's interesting. Yeah. Like, I do think that there are these kind of, I think a lot of people think about life this way. I don't think I'm weird for saying this. Like, you think of life in chapters, right? So it's like, I have my Sweden chapter, I have my North Carolina chapter, which happened to be elementary school. Then I have my Massachusetts chapter in my life, where middle school and high school, and even just like middle school's a chapter, high school's a chapter. And then at each of these kind of inflection points, you can be like, here are all the things I didn't like about what I did during this time in my life. And now here's this opportunity to kind of rework myself or do something different. So when you were in high school, what colleges were you thinking, yes, I want to go to college? Were you thinking maybe going the enlisted route or doing something different?
So in high school, I as soon as I became a naturalized U.S. citizen, I wanted to go to West Point.
Really? Okay.
And because I felt that appreciation for the country, and like America is a great place and it provides opportunities for everyone. It doesn't matter, I went to public school, but I was able to get really good education. And I thought that, hey, I wanted to give back to the country that's given so much from my family. So And I thought West Point was a good way. And it's also a leadership school, right?
Yeah.
So I thought that would help like in the long run. So but I did still apply to other colleges.
Okay.
But West Point was my number one choice. So when I got in, I was like, I'm going.
Did you look at any of the other military academies, or was it like
No.
Army?
Army. I probably didn't know what I was signing up for. But then back then it was like 2007 or 6. I recall I was having a lot of like pushbacks, right? Because I became a U.S. citizen, naturalized U.S. citizen, and during that time it was during the height of the Iraq War.
Yeah.
The surge, right? And it's like, you're a Korean immigrant, so like you escaped the Korean like the military, like why are you serving the U.S. military?
Yeah.
So that was there were some pushbacks, but I still I wanted to serve. I wanted to give back.
Yeah.
So I just did it.
Nice.
Yeah.
What were the emotions, and even like what were your parents thinking? Were they supportive? Were they like, can you do something else? If you were still a Korean citizen, there's the compulsory in Korea. Was that ever a mind of like, maybe I go back there and do that?
So I had to resign that the Korean citizenship before going to West Point, and my parents were, again, they were supportive. They didn't say go go go. They're just like, hey, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And I'm very grateful for that. Of course, it's not fun seeing your kid, going to the military, right?
Yeah.
That wasn't really a sexy thing to do, right?
Yeah.
But they were very supportive. So I'm grateful for that. And like none of my family like served. I guess my dad served in the Korean military.
Yeah.
Right, the Joint Security Area, but the DMZ.
Yeah.
But no, it's just there are a lot of unknowns, and let's just do it.
They're just like, hey, figure it. I mean, I guess when you leave your home country to the U.S. and try to figure it out, they're like, I mean, it worked out fine for us. Like, you'll figure it out your way as well, right?
Yeah.
And then, actually, before we go into your time at West Point, what are you snacking on right now?
Oh, sorry. Italian breadsticks.
Oh, those are pretty good. Okay.
How about yourself?
This is a toaster strudel. If you want to take a bite, no need if you don't want to, but it's actually not bad at all.
Oh, I remember this.
It's basically a toaster strudel. It's got to be from the same company. If not, I'd be shocked. Now, did you get cheese spread, jalapeno cheese spread?
I did get cheese spread with bacon.
Oh, that's a good one.
How about yourself?
I've just got regular old cheese spread. I got the hot sauce.
We
were talking about that a little earlier. Tortillas and the chicken burrito bowl. What else did you get? I think I also got lemon lime and trail mix, which usually trail mix is pretty good.
Nice. Marshmallow crisp. Like, what is this? That's interesting.
That's supposed to be pretty good, I think.
Really?
I think I have had that one. It will potentially break your teeth off, but I think it's like a Rice Krispie treat.
Okay. I guess this is the beef ravioli.
Okay.
And then M&M's.
Yeah. May or may not be expired. Most likely expired, but
And then
dates are just dates, right?
Right, exactly. Fruit punch. Oh, I remember this.
That's a solid meal.
That's very solid.
Now, do you want to go heated or unheated for the main meal?
So I've always heated my MREs, even during Ranger School.
It's a lot better that way.
And I think I'll continue that tradition.
Let's go with that tradition. Let's start getting these heated up. I've got nothing to prove. At this point,
just do it.
I'm living in. It's like, oh, you're weak for heating. Yeah, I'm living in New York.
Yeah, exactly.
If it's raining outside, I'm like, I'll stay inside.
Oh yeah.
If it ain't raining, we ain't training. I'll wait till tomorrow.
I remember.
All right. Now, did you overfill it?
Maybe.
I don't think it ever matters. They say don't overfill, but
I remember heating this up during SEER school, even like Ranger school, when it gets really cold in the morning.
Yeah.
And when this heats up for about at least 10 minutes or so.
Oh yeah, I think they stay hot for, I don't know, if not like 30 minutes or so.
Yeah, I remember just putting in like right underneath your clothes, and
yeah,
that's how you get that warm.
and then they have now these little sleeves that
What
you
is
can
this?
use rather than.
Oh my gosh, this is a game changer.
I know, right? I mean, the innovation that's been happening over the past however many years. When did you get out?
2016.
Okay. Oh wow. So you got out a year after me. But so then you let's see, 2011.
Okay.
Okay, so 5 years is what you did, right?
Yeah, 5
Okay,
years.
nice. Is that the mandatory amount?
Yeah, 5 years. I did 5 years and 4 months, I think. Oh my god.
Doesn't the aroma of the MRE heater packet just bring back great memories?
Oh, yeah.
The smell of sulfates? I don't know. Has anyone actually looked up what the chemical and or rock and or whatever they use with? It's got to be the same as the. Maybe I'm completely wrong on this. Have you ever used the ski heaters? Like, do you ski at all?
I snowboard, but yeah, I know what you mean.
It's like, I don't know if it's that same thing. We'll find out in 20 years from now whether or not this is incredibly toxic. Digression aside, getting into West Point, was it a big shock to you? Did you feel like, oh my God, what did I get myself into? Or did you feel kind of at home getting into it?
No, far from that. To answer your question, big shock.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you one story. I'll never forget this. So during basic training, the first week, you report on Monday morning, I think. And that Thursday morning, a few days later, you have that something called APFT, Army Physical. I think that was still there when you're.
Yep.
2 mile run, 2 mile sit-ups and all that. And then I remember there were 80 people for my group, for my 2 mile run. I came in 79th because the last person passed out. So that should tell you everything about my experience.
You weren't last.
I wasn't last, but I was. But I had a very hard time at West Point in the beginning because I just couldn't keep up.
Just physically.
I couldn't physically keep up.
But if you were doing like football, I mean, even if you weren't playing in the main game, I mean, it sounded like you were doing at least some physical stuff. But
I mean, I played. So, okay, sounds like I played football for a while. I played freshman year, and I quickly realized that that's not my sport. So after that, I didn't do anything.
Got it. I mean, that's. So, I was a very much one season guy for a lot of sports, and just being like, I'm good.
Yeah, you recognize your weakness, and you just take a step back.
Yeah.
So I had a hard time transitioning to being at West Point, and the first year was very, very rough.
Yeah. How do you overcome that? Because I mean, I may have been, if not dead last, second to dead last in my first two PT tests. Like I actually failed my first two in basic training. I was on the very last one where they're like, you either pass this or you wash out, and that was the kind of reckoning I needed to get over it, because I think when I went to AIT, which was only a few weeks later, I like crushed my PT test. Not like a perfect 300, but I was able to get past that like mental barrier of like, my feet hurt, I'm not enjoying this, Like, was there any point that got you over that hump, or was it just consistency day in and day out trying?
I got very lucky. I had two friends who actually trained me every night during freshman year. So what they did was like they took turns, and at 10:30 p.m., 11:30 was taps, I think. So you have to be in your rooms by 11:30. I think they took turns, and they just taught me how to work out. And they said, like you've never really had that formal workout training or anything, alone you play in sports, and they were right. So they said, hey, just come down like every night, but just don't quit. Yeah. And I did that for the whole first year, and because of them, I think I'm still very grateful for them, because without them, I don't think I would have even got close to passing. That's physically. Awesome. So yeah. The
only thing I could think of is a Rocky Balboa montage. It's like you in their room, like punching some cows.
No. My friends were really they're great. They're D1 athletes, and without them, I don't think I would have. Yeah.
That's awesome. I hate using the word because it always sounds silly, battle buddy. But like it is kind of there's always that like one or two battle buddies that you have either in your platoon or your class or what have you that like really keep you in check. And like same like the reason why I passed that third one was I had a battle buddy sit me down and just be like, dude, you're not going to like I'll be like I'm gonna pace you, don't leave my side, like I'm gonna get you across. It sounds like similarly you had a very similar kind of experience.
Very, very similar. And it wasn't just West Point. It was all throughout my life, I think. But it was during the military. When I failed Ranger School, it was after that, it was the same thing happened. So I think I had a lot of like, I'm very blessed with really great people around me. And I think that's something that I'll continue to be grateful for.
How do you, this is going to sound maybe like a silly question. How do you identify good people? A lot of life can be luck, but then how do you, I guess, identify like the person that I'm with is a good person that I should keep around me?
You know, you're at least my friends at like West, even now, like if you treat them with, I guess, like respect and dignity, but also like if you don't want anything from them and you're just good friends.
Yeah.
I don't know how you identify good people. I mean, I think I was very lucky. My friends were honest.
Yeah.
They're good battle buddies, ranger buddies. They were always they were always there for me, and I was always there for them during the hard times. So to answer your question, I think it's, I don't know, just treat people with respect and dignity, and hopefully they do the same to you.
Like a gut feeling of that they're.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But again, I think I'm very lucky on that front.
What did you do for us? Because you have to do at least a collegiate sport in West Point, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I did intramurals. We call it back then. They call it intramural warriors.
Okay.
So every semester, like I mean, everyone there is still like. All the cadets, I think 95% of the cadets played sports in high school. So they were all generally pretty athletic.
Yeah.
It was, I just sucked. And I played basketball, area hockey, grappling.
Oh, nice. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I did grappling. I did swimming once, and that was a huge mistake.
So you can rotate through them each year, or you need to do multiple? Or?
Each semester.
Oh, that's kind of cool. That's like fun.
Yeah. So that was really fun.
Do you remember which one you enjoyed the most or performed the best?
I don't think I performed
the least worst.
The least worst. Yeah, I'm not really good at sports. So like, basketball, I would say. Okay. I really enjoy playing basketball. I play basketball, but
I feel almost a requirement in New York. I feel like is that
Which sport do you play?
I'm a dabbler, so I dabble in sports. Growing up, I played soccer for a little bit. I got just a beeline soccer ball to the face one time, and I was like, I'm done. I like quit right then, and I was in middle school or whatever, maybe elementary school. Played a little bit of ice hockey or roller hockey. That is probably the one I enjoy most because maybe it's the Swede in me. Like I just enjoy winter sports, even though I tend to hate winter. So ice hockey, snowboarding and skiing, and then like non-sport sports like sailing and scuba diving. Like I've done surfing a couple times, skateboarding. So not like super athletic.
Yeah.
Otherwise like going on runs and hikes and all that. Basketball. Yeah. I can sink a 3 every 20 shots or whatever if nobody's around me and I'm in the mood. Golf, we can pretend that I'm okay with it. So, I think I guess I'm relatively athletic, just like team sports. It's especially as you get old. Like, how do you play basketball in New York? Like, do you have a team or do you just show up?
Just show up and then just play. But oftentimes I just play alone, just shoot around.
Yeah.
But yeah, from time to time I play with my neighbors, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I don't know. I'm like, I like sports to like get away from stuff. So I think I like the individual stuff where it's like I can be in my own head or like in an area where I'm just like doing my own thing and like that be my therapy session. Did you know what you wanted to do at West in the sense of what MOS or I want to say industry. What industry of the Army? Field?
I think it's MOS.
MOS,
I think.
field, yeah.
Branch.
Branch.
Yeah.
Did you know what you want to do?
No, I did not. But I don't think you pick your branch until junior year or senior year at West Point. So, you speak with a lot of officers in various branches, and I thought, so I branched military intelligence core, and thought that made sense for me because I thought that I can contribute in a more analytical way, like for the U.S. Army, and so that was very, very at a very high level. That was why I went to chose intelligence.
Did you end up getting it? Because I know you have to stack rank.
Yes, I was very lucky. I got my first choice, was just Intel.
What happens after West Point? Because you mentioned now Ranger School, Sear School, a few others. Yeah. Did you have those in your contract? Were they? I know with like infantry, I think they're required or almost required.
You have a slot, I think.
Okay.
After you. Yeah.
Did you request that, or was that part of the military intelligence?
No. I actually so Sear School, Ranger Schools, like I requested it both times. Well, Sear School was kind of voluntold by my brigade commander, but Ranger School, I actually went twice. I failed the first time. Okay. And so when I got to so I was stationed at, I guess, Fort Hood, but Fort Carbazos now, or something like that.
We'll pop it up on the screen.
Yeah, it was Fort Hood, so it was in Killeen, Texas. Okay. And when I got there, my battalion commander was really like, he was a ranger, and he was like, oh, you have like an intel guy wanting to go to Ranger School, but can you like handle the physical stuff? And then back then, I think I had to. There were very few slots for slot allotted to first. I was at First Cavalry Division. Okay. And I had to compete with some people, and I got very lucky.
Do you still have the spurs?
I do.
It's First Cav, right? Yeah. That's the Stenson hat and the spurs, right?
I do.
That's pretty cool. I was looking at, it was between Cavalry Scout and Forward Observer, and I really wanted, literally the only reason why I wanted to go Cav Scout is to try to get spurs and a Stenson hat, because I think that's hilarious. I'm not saying hilarious in a sense of like, I'm not trying to disrespect the unit or whatnot. My fiance did go, why are they wearing spurs and that's the dumb, they're not on horses. I'm like, but it's tradition. She's like, that's so stupid. I'm gonna call her out. We can get that. Yeah, keep it in. It's fine.
How did you? Man, you went to Italy, right?
I went to Italy. Yeah, the 173rd. Yeah, just pure luck. That is, I used up all my luck apparently to get that, because did not have airborne school in my contract. Ended up going to BFIST right after AIT. So like the complete opposite. Bradley Fighting Vehicle, mechanized. Right. I have no idea. I just got super lucky and super fortunate, but. Cav Scout would have been cool just for the uniform. Fort Hood, Texas. How did you? We can cut it out if you.
You know what's funny? I actually had many. I had a few. I got very lucky with a few post options. I had. I could have gone to Germany, Hawaii, Korea, Washington, Fort Lewis, Washington. Yeah. I don't know if that's what they still call it, and Fort Hood. And I chose Fort Hood.
Why?
Kind of funny.
Why do you know what? Yeah. This is interesting. I will put you under the spotlight here.
Yeah. So why? That was a good. My friends still question me why.
Darken the room. Put a spotlight on him. I'm very curious.
Yeah. So actually back then you got to choose what unit you wanted to go to.
Okay.
So there were 3 military intelligence brigades in the country. I think it was one at Lewis, Bragg, and at Hood. And I thought, okay, like I think if I'm gonna start in military intelligence, let's go to a brigade that's specialized in military intelligence. And I'm like, okay, like Fort Bragg, North Carolina. I'm like, not really inclined to go there because I didn't want to be on the East Coast. Fort Lewis, it was raining. It rains a lot there, I think. And then I was like, oh, there's only Fort Hood left, so let's just choose that. And here's a funny thing though.
But Germany? What was the...
Germany was just like, I think what ran like just cavalry unit or something like that. I think it was 2nd CR or something.
Yeah.
I forget. Yep. But yeah, for me, I thought, hey, if I'm going to be in intelligence, might as well just go to a brigade that specializes so you get that more well-rounded experience.
Got it. I have no idea. Is the First Cav known for military intelligence?
Oh, check this out. So I was supposed to go to the 504th MI Brigade. and I got my orders, and you're all happy and going there, and then you go to the military intelligence basic officer course, or BOLIC, whatever they call it now. And then as I was about to graduate, I get a new set of orders, and I'm told I'm going to 1st Cavalry Division, the 4th Brigade.
Could have just picked Germany. You would have ended up there.
And then
anyway.
I had no idea what that was. So I was like, I'm going to the intelligence brigade. Like, one of my friends was going on the same brigade, or was going. One of my West Point buddies was supposed to be stationed there with me, and I was like, yeah, like let's just be roommates.
You've got it all planned out.
I got it all planned out, and the moment I got the orders, I still wasn't sure. I thought they were kidding.
Yeah.
So I went to the in-processing at Fort Hood, and I told them, hey, like, I think there might be some potential error. Like, at West Point, I chose 504s. That's why I chose Hood.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, no. It's military needs or something like that.
Are you in or are you out?
Okay, well, then I'm out.
I'm sorry, Jet. Actually, you're already in.
Yeah. They just laughed at you. They're like, oh, buddy. Nope.
No, you're coming to Fort
That's
Hood.
where you're wrong, but...
That's where you're going. And yeah, that's how I ended up at 1st Cav. I didn't know, but I think that was probably the best thing that's happened to me, though.
Yeah.
And my battalion commander was great. He's now a 2-star general, and very lucky.
Yeah. It always works out, right? I guess at the end. Like, I mean, I was not particularly happy when I got the 101st. Not necessarily that, like, I didn't think I would like the unit. I wanted to be on the East Coast and all that, but a lot of what happened at the 101st, I think, shaped me, and I got out because of it, and in a weird roundabout way. I think if I had stayed in the 173rd, I would have extended, and it just would have, whatever. I mean, this is maybe hindsight's 2020, and you can reconcile things the way you want to reconcile it, but things, like, they're fine now. And I mean, I guess you're still in the same area, right? Or the unit's in 2 completely different areas.
It's like a 15-minute drive, I think.
Yeah. So you're now in the heat of Texas.
Texas.
I guess enjoyable. You do like it?
Oh, I love it. I mean, Texas is a great place to live.
Yeah.
I think
How do you do
outdoors.
with the heat?
Oh, that's minus that.
Okay.
But Austin, it's like an hour and a half drive to Austin.
Yeah.
I used to go to church there every Sunday. 3 hours from Dallas,
Okay.
like whatever to Houston and to San Antonio. So it was great. I actually really enjoyed my time at Fort Hood.
Wow.
So,
Did you spend your full 5 years there?
kind of. So I was actually I left 1st Cav and went to like 85th Civil Affairs Brigade.
Okay.
I don't think that's there anymore. But when I was there, I did a lot of TDYs, 2-month TDYs. And then my last duty station, I was actually sent to MacDill Air Force Base in Florida.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
TDY, temporary duties?
Something like that. It's
Something?
you just go there. For me, I was there for anywhere between a couple weeks to a couple months. So
Okay. Where are you allowed to say where or all
yeah.
sides?
I was I was mainly at the battalion headquarters were at, so Washington, Bliss, so El Paso,
So you're just jumping around
Yeah.
all the different areas.
Savannah, Georgia. So it was really fun.
And during that time, that's when you go to the Ranger schools.
Yes. So Ranger School happened during 1st Cav when I was second lieutenant.
Yeah.
But I failed the first time, as I told you, and I went back as a first lieutenant.
Yeah.
7 months later, and then that was interesting.
The bar change was all that.
Oh, but Ranger School is interesting because rank doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Ranger back in the enlisted soldiers and saying like, hey, like, what the hell, like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It's funny because unlike in what's it called, air assault school, rank definitely still matter. Like I came in as a specialist. I think I had a deployment, and it always had the 173rd patch with the combat action badge, and so like anytime it came to like pack checks and all that, all the privates are getting yelled at and tossed and all that, and they'd get to me and the others who have actually like been in the military for a little bit, and they'd just be like, all right, you're good. Like just move on to the next one. You're like, sick. Like you barely got picked on. How did you? I can imagine failing Ranger school is pretty grueling.
Oh yeah.
how do you build up the courage, or how do you build up the confidence to be like, all right, let's go back into it and try a second time?
It's a funny story. Well, it's funny now, but back then it wasn't. I actually spent 206 days in Ranger School. I did pre-Ranger, Darby 3 times, Mountain 3 times, and Florida twice. And the first time I did Darby twice and Mountains twice, spent 124 days, lost 26 pounds or so, and came back. And I remember I was able to run like marathons or whatever, and I couldn't run more than a mile because I was just beat up.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, it was probably the hardest thing that I did like in my life, going back the second time, because it's not like you have guaranteed success or anything like that. You're going a clean slate. But worse is like you actually haven't. The second time, the reason I went back was, again, it's like crazy encounters where I was like, I didn't have a slot in February. I went in April the second time. In February, I was like rucking with my SF buddy. He was going to selections, and it was like, like you got a freaking pass. But I'm like, oh, I have no slot. But you're going to just keep on training with me, and you're going to just go at moment's notice. You're going to be ready. And I remember I did a 12-mile ruck watch with them, finished around like 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. or something like that. And I came back to my battalion headquarters, and then I saw my old brigade command. Now he's a superintendent of West Point, General Gillen. And then he was just like, oh, what are you doing? And I was like, oh yeah, I'm an MI officer looking to go back to Ranger School again. What happened? I was like, oh yeah, I spent 120 days or something, 24 days. Failed. And like, you want to go back again? And it's like, yeah, like I would love to. Like, I want to give me one more shot.
Yeah.
So it's like, he could go through the entire system again, like, competing for a slot and all that. And I was very lucky. They sent me back again. So that the added pressure of if he failed, and it could have been really bad.
Yeah.
Right? Because if he fails the 2 times in a row, like it's unheard of for MI officers to go to Ranger School in the first place.
Yeah.
And going back again and failing, like it was hard.
Like failure, basically not enough.
It was. I remember I was saying, like, the only way I'll get out is like by being in a body bag. Like I was just so determined to just go and just.
What were the emotions when you graduated? I mean, that had to have been like
it was
better than graduating West Point.
Oh yeah. I remember so I actually got standing ovation.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Because I was the only out of 143 Ranger graduates. I was the only MI officer.
Yeah.
But then the RIs actually, till the very last day, they're like, oh yeah, Ranger Moon, like you never, got to like lead your platoon. You're in Ranger School the whole time. Yeah. So they thought I was an infantry the whole time. I was like, oh yeah, Ranger Sergeant Ranger, I forget how you call it. And I was like, yeah, thank you for helping me pass. And they thought that, and then it was just like there were a lot of emotions coming out, right?
Yeah.
It's just like, not only were you like, you go back to second, I got very lucky too.
Yeah.
Like there's crazy stories for that too, but just being able to graduate and, wear that tab and represent, right?
So when you get married, it will be the second happiest day of your life. No, we'll cut that away.
My significant other will kill me.
You don't have to say that. You can plead the fifth on that question.
Yeah.
And so, obviously not the easy, I mean, especially with Ranger School and SEER School and all that. Did you always think that you were just going to do 5 years? At any point, did you contemplate maybe making a career out of the military?
So I actually, so I wanted to stay for a long time, and that's why I actually went to Ranger School and SEER School, and I did all that so that I can really excel in the military. But during my last jump in Florida phase, I actually got hurt. The harness neck, like straps caught my neck, and I couldn't breathe in. You have to do all that stuff to get out, and I hurt my back and I was severely hurt. But I was very lucky that I was able to graduate and just push on, because there was no failure, wasn't an option. But so I knew that I was somewhat injured back then, and from there I was like, where else can I make the impact outside of the military? So that's what led me to get out.
Oh my God, so
this is really good, by the way.
The one with the bacon. I didn't have an argument. I had a lively discussion on whether or not jalapeno or bacon spread is the better of the cheese spread. Leave a comment down below. That's how we get YouTube engagement. At what point? So I mean, through Ranger School. So then you had a little bit of time to kind of know or make the decision that you were probably going to get out. How long did you have, or when did you start preparing your separation from the military?
I don't exactly remember. I remember. So I wasn't sure what I wanted to do after the military, to be frank, because I didn't think about leaving. So I probably prepared, like, when I just made that decision, probably about like 9 months out, 9 months to a year out or so. But then I didn't really have that much time to transition because as soon as I dropped my packet, I was sent to U.S. Central Command.
Oh, God.
And that was probably the best experience I've had in the military in terms of, like, after Ranger School. It was very fascinating working for General Austin and seeing the things I go over in the Middle East.
Yeah.
So, about a year, 9 months to a year.
So you're there. I guess if that was a really interesting experience, where like maybe I do stay in, or
no, it was I already dropped my packet and it was already kind of like too late, but it actually opened a lot of, like, gave me a lot of perspectives.
Yeah. Can you walk me through the transition? Like, did you have a school lined up or a job? Did you, you kind of said, you had 9 months, you weren't really quite sure, but I mean, what were the next steps for you in the civilian world?
Yeah. So, back then I remember, I was applying to business schools. And when I went to Florida, I didn't get accepted to anywhere yet. But then when I was serving, during that time, I got accepted, like, I think in December or so. So I knew that, maybe business school was a possibility.
Yeah. What school did you get accepted into?
Columbia and business school and MIT.
Those are, really incredible schools. What gave you, and this isn't meant to be a backwards comment, what gave you the confidence to apply to those schools?
The luck comes again. Like, how I told you, I met a lot of, like, people in my life that just brought me up. A lot of my mentors, like, who were like a couple years older than me from West Point and just the Army in general, most of them went to business school. So they were always not encouraging, but I knew about business schools because of them. And also my sister went to business school.
Got it.
Not there, but so I knew about it and I thought, hey, like, why don't I just give a shot?
Yeah. That's awesome. And so you took the GMAT?
GRE. Yeah, GRE.
While you were in.
Yeah.
I remember, I took I tried taking the SAT or the ACT while I was in, and let's just say it did not go super well. How was it prepping for the GRE?
Awful.
Yeah.
I'm not a good test taker.
Okay.
So I think I took it several times. But at one point you just have to just be like, okay, maybe you don't have the scores or median, and you just have to hope for the best. And that's what I did for both business and law schools. But yeah, so I had a hard time. I didn't get a good score or anything like that. I wasn't even within the median or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Close to it. I probably they made an exception probably to get me in.
How do you pick the school that you end up going to? Like, is it location, what you want to study?
So it was location, I think.
Okay.
But also, like, the prestige of the schools. In the military, you don't really know much, right? You just, back then, I don't know if they still call it. It was called M7 or something like that. I don't know what that means, but it was like the 7 top business schools. And I thought, hey, let's just try it. But New York was a place I wanted to be.
Yeah.
And because of West Point, and I thought everything happened here.
Yeah.
Now I'm here now.
Yeah.
So that was a huge factor.
What is it? What's the movie reference? Good Will Hunting.
Oh yeah.
How do you like them apples? No, I mean I think I was similar. I mean, service school helped me a whole bunch. Shout out to the Alec episode, pop up here. I think I was just
like, get a Tabasco sauce.
Oh yeah, it's not coming out, but maybe try giving it a good whack and it'll maybe actually work.
Yeah.
I think I was like looking at my hometown. I think location was a big thing, and then prestige. Is it working?
That's fine. No worries.
Yeah, I'm like,
I think so.
right.
But the location was a big factor.
Yeah, I think location was a big factor with me. Also, there's a lot of good schools on the East Coast, so I think we're a bit spoiled here when it comes to like, oh, if you want to be on the East Coast and pick a good school, it's like, well, you have like 40 different great schools that you can go to. How long between when you got out and you going to Columbia, right? You said,
Yeah.
How long was that gap?
I don't think I was still on active duty during my time at Columbia. So I think it's pretty common. I think all of us, a lot of veterans have 60 to 90 days of leave or something like that.
Yeah.
So they try to, so they take their leave during, they go to business school. A lot of them, at least my friends, they went to business school during their time on active duty, but they're on terminal leave. So I was at Columbia during my terminal leave.
Wow.
So my last day was September 11th, 2016.
Wow. And how was your time at, there's like no train. It's just like,
Oh yeah.
you're showing up to your unit one day.
Yeah.
Now you're in a classroom in New York, of all places.
The transition was very, very difficult. It was very similar to West Point, like the freshman year, the basic training when I came in last, or second to last. It was very tough because I wasn't polished. I didn't know what these corporate lingos were. I'm not someone that just comes in and just gets it right away. Like for me, it just takes a while to just get adjusted to the environment. And my classmates at Columbia, I remember just being very, very smart.
Yeah.
So I felt, everyone has like imposter syndrome and stuff like that. And I was definitely struggling the first year.
Yeah. I can imagine that, like, one, it's funny because a buddy of mine I served with ended up doing green to gold. So he was West Point. And I just saw on Instagram, he's like, oh, I'm heading out to Dartmouth for my business school.
Oh,
like,
good for him.
It's just like everyone, I guess like everyone at West Point just like does that. Where was I even going with that story?
Transition.
I can imagine going to business school where the traditional route is you go to, especially at those schools, maybe a top 20, top 30 undergrad school. You're then at McKinsey or Booz Allen or some sort of investment bank.
That's
and now
right.
you're in business school. So like they all know the language of consultancy or IB or what have you, where you're just like, I can tell you about a sit rep or a, SOP or like they're just completely different corporate speak, right? How do you adjust to? Is it just like open up the books, watch YouTube videos, or surround yourself by those people and try to pick it up?
Surround yourself by those people and pick it up. At one point, you have to transition, right?
Yeah.
And it took me a while. Even during my second year of business school, I still had a hard time adjusting, and I wasn't, I wasn't polished. I didn't really know how to contribute in a very smart way, right?
Right.
But at one point, you start picking the things up and you go to different conferences. I had really good civilian friends who were like kind of teaching me like, hey, here's how you do a case study. Hey, here's how you look at these businesses. Here's what I would think about. No, don't say this word. Just say like tailwind or headwind, like whatever it is. And I was like, oh, okay, like that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And then you just kind of pick it up. Again, like I think a lot of my best friends actually are from Columbia Business School, and even to this day, they still laugh about seeing my transition from military to civilian life. And
we'll just circle back on that. You got to get all the tailwinds and headwinds. I think is some of the funniest corporate.
Oh yeah, There's a lot, but it's funny. But it's good to know.
Did you know what you wanted to do as like a career there, or how do you figure that out?
I didn't know what I wanted to do when I came to business school. I think I said I wanted to go into consulting because that's like a very typical path, like consulting or investment banking. And I remember, I did many interviews. I actually did probably over 100 interviews at Columbia, probably 99% fail rate. Yeah. I got one internship offer at the end, and it was a media company. And so I didn't get consulting, didn't even try banking.
Yeah.
So I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. In fact, I just wanted to see what I didn't like to do.
Yeah. That was my first internship. One, because I didn't even realize when you were supposed to be applying to like IB and banking internships, which is like 16 years, like by the time you're born, you're supposed to be putting in your applications apparently. But like it's the real answer is essentially a full year prior. It's like the beginning of fall semester or fall quarter, you should be applying to summer, if not even during the summertime, which is insane. And as like a new student at Stanford, I had no idea that that was like a thing. So when I started thinking of like applying to internships, people are like, no, all those I've already closed. Like, and so I got like just the most I ended up doing equity research, but it was just like out of pure luck that I found that role, and I hated it, but it was good because, like you just said, it was kind of a good opportunity for me to just figure out like, oh, I like these aspects of the job, but I really don't like this. So let's try to do something else where we keep the skills, the things that I do enjoy, but apply it in a different light. What was so you did media. Are you able to say kind of from who or like what were you doing? And then
a funny story. I started to realize that like, oh wow, every company that I go to actually get bought out or go bankrupt or something like that. You'll hear.
You should join us, and hopefully it sounds like it's a 50-50 that it might get bought out.
So I actually worked at a place called the Viacom. It's a few blocks away.
Another digression. When I was a kid, I was a huge nerd. I used to use Xfire, which was a chat system for playing video games, and Viacom bought them out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I was at Viacom in their their finance team.
Yeah.
And that was interesting. That was fun.
What didn't you like, or what did you learn about that you try to apply to your second year?
Like I learned what a corporate environment is kind of like. Substance stuff, like I don't really remember as much. But I remember this is like corporate America. Like there are a lot of meetings, there are a lot of check-ins. There's a lot of circle backs and stuff.
Yeah.
And so to me, that was more of like an introduction to corporate America. And did I apply any of that to my second year? I mean, I had to say something on to my potential employers after business school, right? So I forget what I said, but it was a good experience because there I had one of my best friends, he also went to Columbia Business School, and he interned with me, and so I got to meet him.
Oh, that's cool.
And that was a big positive takeaway.
What do you do your second year? Because it's usually you either do a return offer or just like a full-time role, right? It's not usually a second internship.
I my second year after the MBA summer, I studied for the LSAT actually.
Okay.
That's like kind of a plot twist. I knew, so going back to the military for a little bit. So remember I said it was the best experience working for Lloyd Austin because the things that I got to experience and see. In that role, I was briefing General Austin, but part of my other responsibility was to be in targeting meetings. There, I was working with lawyers from different countries, and you essentially say, hey, is this airstrike? Does it abide by the Geneva Conventions? Is it legal or not? And so you learn about the moral theories, and you see it firsthand. Yeah. But that gave me first exposure to the power of law. But it was already too late because I already got into business school, and it was and I studied math in college, or engineering in college. So I thought, it wasn't that convincing. But during business school, the first year, in addition to just trying to survive, I went to a lot of conferences, and not media or anything, but a lot of finance and those conferences. And I met a lot of JD MBA CEOs and senior investment professionals. And there I remember just asking them what were your thoughts, about getting that extra degree or something. Yeah. I was very convinced after they said that, hey, it's, you get to approach a problem in different light, business and government or, something like that. So I was like, I was convinced. Yeah. So coming into, and I went to a few conferences during the summer during Viacom. And then after my internship, I studied, the LSAT for a few weeks or whatever. And then I just applied and and then went to law school.
Where'd you go for law school?
Berkeley.
Nice. So east to west.
Yeah.
back home with family ish.
Yeah,
Not
exactly.
I
I
guess
actually
not
live,
right on top, but
that was a huge reason actually
Yeah.
for going back. Actually, probably that was my number one reason for going back. Going to Berkeley was because of my family.
okay. What?
So I went right after MBA.
Right. Wow. So you don't believe in gaps. You're like,
Oh yeah, speaking of
I'm not even done with the Army. We're going in MBA. You're like, I'm done with my MBA. We're right into the next one.
Yeah. I'm very, very lucky.
Yeah.
So.
And what would, like you said, like business school, law school, very, very different. Well,
Very different. Yeah.
I mean, they're both higher level education
They're
degree,
schools, yeah.
but like very different in terms of problem sets and what you're doing.
Exactly.
I think they say the MBA students are the partiers going out and going to different countries and not really paying attention in class, and law students are going around the country not paying attention in class. No, but I think even though there may be, I think both don't get graded. Most schools don't grade classroom stuff. There's a lot more studying involved in law school.
Yeah,
I think.
exactly.
I don't think that's controversial what I just said.
It was tough.
Yeah.
Very tough. And it was like a huge rude awakening, I say.
Yeah.
But Berkeley, like I really enjoyed my first year there because my classmates they were much younger than me. So I think I was 29 when going to law school. So they were like 23, 24 right out of college. Yeah. Like they're super smart. They're really good at taking tests and stuff. And I, I coming from like an MBA business school, and I was in engineering college. Like I didn't really know how to I wasn't really good at reading and writing. Something that you should be good at. But so it was pretty hard in the beginning. But a lot of my classmates shared notes with me, and at Berkeley, like they don't have grades, so it's more like honors. Like Stanford has that, Stanford Law School, I think, and Yale, where it's like pass or fail kind of thing. Yeah. So, and they did that on purpose so that there's less tension in the classroom. So got very lucky with that, and it was very supportive. I had really great professors. And
do you have to pick a type of law, like governance, corporate, bird law? Was there any particular type of law that you enjoyed?
Criminal law.
Okay.
I actually, funny thing, during my last year, I was graduate research assistant for my professor, helping him write a book on whether or not juvenile, essentially do younger kids, are they more likely to go to jail or something like that? And I did that for about a year and a half, even during bar studying. So I really enjoyed criminal law.
Did you ever think that maybe you'd go into the criminal law field, or just another thing in your toolkit? Another thing in my toolkit. But in law school, after first year, you have 2 years of you could do whatever you want pretty much. Yeah. And I remember every semester I did an internship. So I was working at a hedge fund. I was working in Singapore. There's state courts. I did a lot of pro se volunteer stuff. I was really involved with the veterans project. Yeah. At Berkeley, and worked with the SEC, the FTC. I did a lot of internships. And I worked at two startups. It was pretty awesome. So I spent that time to learn what I didn't want to do again. Yeah. And I also even did investment banking. Investment banking as a finance person. Yeah. It almost seems like you had more opportunities to explore jobs at your JD than your MBA. I think hindsight's 2020, but when I got out of the military, I didn't know what the hell was going on. Yeah. Financial statement, revenue, profit, all that. DCF. I didn't know what that was. Yeah. And so I just spent time just trying to learn that, right? Yeah. And then 2 years of training, you kind of understand, okay, how do you, I'm okay, I don't think I understand the civilian world, but I think I know enough to explore other things and convince that employer to potentially give me a shot and bring me aboard. So I got very lucky, and I think all law schools are like that. I think the second and third year, where you get to just do internships. So you do all these kind of experiences. Law school, 3 years. Yeah. Coming up on that third year. Yeah. I mean, from criminal law to IB to Singapore. I shout out Ian Tan. We had somebody from the Singaporean military here. Yeah. I mean, at any point, are you connecting the dots? Maybe connecting the dots isn't the right phrase, but how are you How are you thinking about your future as you approach graduation?
So those internships, right? They helped me. They didn't help me like. They helped me what I didn't like to do.
Yeah.
And I think even till the very end, I thought that so I actually practiced law after law school.
Oh, so you passed the California?
New York.
Okay.
So the funny thing is this, I think I told myself like, so I had an investment banking internship before my third year. Mm-hmm. So typically you get full-time offers or whatever. So I got the full-time offer. Funny thing, I actually worked at Credit Suisse. I remember I told you that every company I work goes bankrupt, kind of. So, so they got acquired. And that was kind of funny. So I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah. So, but I think I had, investment banking offer, and then I did intern at a couple of law firms too. So they were very had a great experience, and they gave me offers in San Francisco. But I thought that, I think my thinking process there was, hey, I spent 3 years in law school, like 2 years in business school. Like, why don't I just give the legal career a shot?
Yeah.
But then I'm like, okay, but I'll only do that if I get into maybe like one firm.
Yeah.
And I applied to one. After I declined those offers or whatever, I didn't have anything left. I remember applying to one law firm in New York. Those like Cravath, Swaine Moore. It's like one of the law firms in New York. And I was like, if I don't get in, then we'll see what happens. Yeah. And I remember in October, I was very, very, very lucky to have gotten an interview and did the interview process and got that. And I was like, let me just try this legal thing out for a few years.
We're going to Vegas together, and we're going to the craps table or roulette table, because it seems like you've got some good luck that I need to.
Yeah, very lucky, very lucky. I think I'm always grateful for all the things that happen.
Obviously that is also I say that as a joke. But obviously hard work, dedication, you obviously proved yourself. Like, I don't think you can luck your way through an interview or when they're testing you on your hard skills. But
I mean, even then, I think, it's all about like, who's interviewing at that time. Like, how are they feeling? Like, do you just click, and you get that question. And it's like that in like, I think almost every job but all in all, I feel like I got very lucky.
Well, I'll be the cheerleader for you and say that your hard work and dedication also.
Thank you.
I don't know, and this is cliche too, and I've said this too a lot of times, of like the intersection of hard work and serendipity, of like, it is true. Like, you can come onto an interview and the person just not having a good day, and and then that affects it, or what have you. They ask you a question for whatever reason, you just blank out, even though you had all the answers. Like, there are definitely a lot of factors out there, but at the same time, like, I think in order to open up those opportunities, you have to work hard enough that you're at least getting afforded those opportunities. The time at the law firm, how long were you there for?
About 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess enjoyable enough to do the 2. What was the deciding factor to leave, and what was that next thing?
Yeah, so again, like, remember I told you, like, my entire life theme has been like meeting a few people here and there, and they completely changed my life. Like, I actually didn't mind law, but I knew what I didn't like about the legal, or not my law firm. My law firm is great.
Yeah.
Cravath is they're intense. They're all like, let's be perfect, right?
Yeah. Bought out or bankrupt?
No, they're actually, I think they're
one of the few.
They're actually, it's a good firm. But I didn't really, I enjoy my time there.
Yeah.
And you're just surrounded by, like, I guess I say excellence, right? So I had no complaints, but I knew that I didn't really, not enjoy, but like the project-based, like, life, right? Like, and it's totally, like, I think it's preference based. Consultants, bankers, it's all project based, generally speaking.
Yeah.
And you move on, you finish that project, you go to the next one. And I thought, maybe like I want to do, like, maybe able to build businesses, and I want to be part of something for long periods of time.
Yeah.
Or so I actually got my next job, the job I'm in now, through like an elevator, right?
Oh, really?
So I met someone in an elevator. And then I kept in touch with him, and he's my mentor now. And and then that's how I got it. I could explain that later. But
so where are you at now?
So I transitioned from law about a year and a half ago. Wow, it's been a while. And I'm in private equity.
Okay.
So I do private equity investing, but I guess I still use law here and there.
Are you able to say what firm you're at, or?
Yeah, I'm at Cartesian Capital.
Cartesian.
So we are a global private equity firm with $3 billion in assets under management.
Got it. And Cartesian was right after
Cravath. Cravath, yeah.
A lot of companies with the word Credit Suisse,
Suisse.
Carvath.
Yeah.
The next company, it just has to be a C. Is it luck, or is it just companies that start with the letter C? Calvary. I mean, now I'm stretching it a little bit here. West Point on the coastal.
Yeah.
So stupid. Anyways, I thought it was funny.
Oh, that is.
Cravath, what kind of investing is it? And I'm going to sound really ignorant here. My fiance is in private equity, and I know there's secondaries, distressed debt, primaries, I assume.
I think we like to say, I mean, this is something that's, I like to say we build businesses.
Yeah.
So we try to take a business model that works in one jurisdiction and try to apply it to another jurisdiction.
Got it.
So what does that mean? So we essentially buy out growth equity and a kind of mix of that. Let's say that, for example, one of our portfolio companies is called like Tim Hortons in Canada. Let's say you partner with them and you bring that to a different country. For us, it's in China and then in Asia, whatever. Yeah. And you try to see if that works and localize it and grow it.
It's funny you mentioned that. When I was I was at ZX Ventures my second summer, where I fell in love with startups. And so for people that don't know, I don't even know if it exists anymore, but the venture / incubator arm of Anheuser-Busch, AB InBev, the big beer conglomerate. And I had actually pitched this because I just knew about it because I'd been to China at that point, is that like Budweiser is incredibly popular in China, almost seen like a gift set. You can buy it for like $100, like a really ornate version of it. And it's amazing the amount of like American-based brands or just other brands that end up doing well in that area. And vice versa, you have like Stella Artois or Stella Artois, whatever you want to call it, a Dutch beer, which is like old people drink it. Not popular at all in the Netherlands, yet for whatever reason, it's a fancy beer here in the United States. And when you go to the Netherlands, they're like, why would you drink Stella? Like, don't. So it sounds like similar, like find something, apply it in a different area and try to grow it naturally in there. What are the things that you weren't getting at the law school, the law firm, that like scratches that itch here at Cartesian?
Cartesian, yeah. Great firm. Cartesian's a great firm too. I think it's just fundamentally different. Yeah. I think, right? It's you're with I mean, it's like most private equity and VCs and growth equity firms where you partner with a company for a very long period of time. You go through the ups and downs with them. You do whatever you can to help them be their partners, support them. Yeah. And I guess that's similar with law, but not really, because for law, you do one deal like IBM was a client, and you don't just be with them for a long time. Yeah. I mean, you're there with them a long time, but it's not like, oh, there's a project let's close a deal in April, May there's another deal. Maybe sometimes that happens, but generally no. You see them, oh hey, it's been a while. I've seen you 8 months ago. In private equity, in my field, it's day in, day out. You're really partnering with the business and to help them, and that's the biggest difference, I think.
I think it's what I find interesting about private equity, similar to like where startups day in and day out, like there are times where you're like, I don't know this thing, I'm going to now need to learn it. I would assume, and maybe I'm wrong here, you weren't a coffee connoisseur or a knower of all things Tim Hortons, right? Within this example, but you're like, okay, like time to become a subject matter expert on all things coffee and distribution and logistics and why it's so popular in Canada, right? Like, I can imagine that's like a really fun part of the job is each business there are commonalities, the fundamentals of business are obviously the same, but the gears and the levers and why somebody's maybe interested in Tim Hortons versus Dunkin' Donuts versus Starbucks is stuff that you have to research and learn. And
that's exactly. And I think, and that's hard about it. Right? That's why it's kind of difficult, because I think as an investor, right, you're not, you're not there day to day with the company, but you try to be very helpful. But the people that really know the most are people that's on the ground dealing with the customers like day in, day out. But you do what you can to be helpful, right?
Were there any misconceptions or preconceived notions of private equity that were either proven or dispelled when you got in?
So I didn't really intend to go to private equity. I didn't really know what it was actually, if I'm being honest. Like what I said, I got my job like in an elevator, right? And it was total luck.
Yeah.
And I didn't get it right then. I got it many months later. I didn't really know what to expect in private equity. I knew what it was, like buyout and just, what you see on YouTube and Instagram or whatever. So I didn't know what to expect coming in. I knew it was intense. The standards are incredibly high, but Cravath was high. Like it was, and the military was high. It wasn't anything that I wasn't exposed to before. Mm-hmm. But then I think the hardest part was, like, you do like modeling, you do all these like corporate, you have to know how to do that. Also just being able to like quickly shift in situation, because every day I think has been different for me at my firm. Yeah. And are you okay to go through the unpredictable times? And if it's something comes up the next day that you didn't expect, like how do you respond to that? I think that's something that I didn't expect. And the consequence is real, right?
How, this will sound like a joke, but it actually isn't. How long did it take for you to be able to learn how to use Excel without a mouse?
I still use a mouse.
All the shortcuts and all that?
Yeah. I still use it, use a mouse, but I'm not an Excel guru or anything, but I couldn't enough without touching my mouse.
I had some skills. I'm bad at it now. My fiance always makes fun of me whenever I do an Excel sheet. She's like, "You can just do it this way," and I'm like, "Yeah, maybe." I build models from time to time, nowhere near the same level though. What does the future hold for you? Like, are you happy? Are you? And I don't mean because obviously you just got into this role, but like, I mean, yeah. How do you think of the future?
I really enjoy this job. The things that I do. I love investing, being an investor role, and I don't see myself leaving anytime soon. Like what I said before. After leaving the military, I didn't know what I wanted to do. Yeah. But I went on that crusade of like 5 years of school, right? And I knew what I didn't want to do. And I think I finally found an industry that I really like. Very intellectually stimulating. Every day is different. Mm-hmm. It's very competitive, fast paced. And so I see myself being in this industry for a little bit, but in the long run, I would love to go back to the government and just serve the country again. Yeah. And then in the long run after.
Out of curiosity, and maybe you don't have to say, but like in what capacity, like, in like something like as a senator or House of Representative, as like a legal counsel, are there certain parts of government that you find interesting?
I think whatever way that I can contribute, right? Yeah. I left the military and I joined the civilian life, right? So it's a private sector, and right now I'm in a process of finding out like what I'm good at, right? Yeah. And hopefully have some success in this. And my ultimate goal would be to bring back all the learnings that I've had over the years in my private sector, along with the military, and bring all that together and bring it to the government and try to be whatever way helpful I can. So I didn't really think that far, but like what role or whatever. But I think because looking back, I really enjoyed my military experience, and I'm very great. I think about it a lot. Where I'm very proud of have served, and very grateful for those who are currently serving and have served. And I hope that my last chapter of my life, I could do something that I'm really grateful for and continue to give back to the country.
Is there a common theme or learning lesson that you found you've lived a hell of a life, from moving to the U.S. to West Point to Ranger School for 100 and something days.
206 days. Yeah.
I mean, from MBA to law to law firms to private equity. I mean, there's a lot in there. Anything in particular that you're like, this is something that's helped me each step of those ways?
I think I try not to be complacent. Mm-hmm. And I think, because it's really easy to be complacent, right? After you're in a role and you just stay there and you like the status quo or something like that. But every like maybe it's because of the immigrant mindset. Like I have nothing to lose, right?
Yeah.
But then that takes that pressure off of like, hey, you have nothing to lose, so why don't you just try things that you want to do? And I think the common theme is that I've always challenged myself in whatever capacity. Like even going to law school was incredibly difficult because I didn't know what to expect. I knew what it was about. Going to Ranger School, I didn't know what to expect. I was the only MI guy there. Going to West Point, I didn't know what to expect. Felt like the common theme is I try to always challenge myself.
Yeah.
And then also I think not only that, but I got very lucky throughout my life with meeting just different people, and they just helped me along the way.
Yeah.
And I think I have to give credit to those people too.
Speaking of challenges, MRE, almost 9 years later, 10 years later, 1 out of 10, what would you bring it?
So I'll say like 8 or 9.
Pretty good.
The Tabasco actually helped a lot.
Tabasco always helps. We've gotten some that have like completely dried out. I'm glad you were able to get a few drops in. These are the good ones. I will say this is very solid. Would you take this over a New York dinner out on the town though?
Like I think this means much more to me than some New York fancy restaurant,
sentimentally,
right? Yeah, because I thought you have so many MREs during Ranger School and Sierra School, and those like when you go to ranges, right? But I enjoy it, but it's always unique.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I've got a couple leftovers. I think I'm going on a hike tomorrow, so I'll stuff that in the backpack and take it with me. Chris, I really appreciate you being on. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for having some.
Thanks for doing this.